In East Asia, few relationships are as important or as complicated as the one between China and Japan. Two economic giants, deeply intertwined, yet historically divided. A relationship built on cooperation, but shadowed by mistrust. In the past weeks, we've seen this delicate balance shaken again. A diplomatic dispute has escalated. Political statements, tough rhetoric, travel advisories, market reactions, and real economic consequences for millions of people. Today, we're going to look at what's happening right now through the lens of a powerful academic insight. Aoyama Rumi's article, Stability and Fragility in Japan-China Relations. And by the end of this video, you'll have a clearer picture of why this relationship is so volatile, how political conflicts translate into economic pain, and what you can realistically expect in the coming weeks and months.
Now let's turn to what's happening today. Recent comments by Japanese Prime Minister Sanaya Takaichi regarding Taiwan triggered a strong reaction from Beijing. Chinese officials accused Japan of crossing a political red line. Media rhetoric intensified. Online nationalism surged. And China responded with a familiar set of tools. Travel warnings to Chinese tourists. Advisories to state-owned enterprise employees to avoid Japan. Increased Coast Guard patrols around disputed waters. Heightened political messaging emphasizing Japan's provocations. None of this is new. We've seen similar patterns during past disputes. But what's important is how fast these actions impact the economy. Within days, Japanese tourism stocks fell. Hotel bookings dropped. Airlines adjusted schedules. Retailers catering to Chinese tourists saw immediate cancellations. These are economic tremors, exactly the kind Aoyama describes in her framework of fragility. The political spark may be small, but the economic reaction is immediate.
Aoyama's article also explains something crucial. China doesn't want full confrontation, but it does want to signal power and shape behavior. In her words, China uses a strategy of risk avoidance but selective pressure. Here's what that means today. China avoids military escalation. That would be costly and unpredictable. Instead, it uses economic tools, tourism, consumer sentiment, informal guidance to companies, harsher rhetoric in state media. These tools are inexpensive, fast, and emotionally powerful. They send a message. We are not escalating to dangerous levels, but we can inflict pain when necessary. Tourism is always the first target because it's immediate. It hits local businesses. It affects visible sectors like hotels, shops, and transportation. And it activates public opinion, which is politically valuable. This is exactly what we are seeing now. So what should we expect? Let's break it down. 1. Tourism shock. Chinese tourist numbers will likely fall sharply in the short term. Japan is already seeing cancellations and reduced bookings. Regions that depend heavily on Chinese visitors, Osaka, Tokyo, Hokkaido, Okinawa, may feel the impact most. 2. Consumer behavior. We could see a rise in online nationalism inside China, including boycotts of Japanese products, negative social media sentiment, and pressure on Japanese brands in China. Nothing officially announced, but this pattern is common in past disputes. 3. Corporate hesitation. Japanese companies investing in China may become more cautious. They won't pull out, but they may delay expansions or freeze decisions. 4. Political messaging. Expect more strong rhetoric from both sides. In Aoyama's model, rhetoric is cheap, and it satisfies domestic audiences. But here's the key point. 5. No full economic rupture. Despite the tension, neither country can afford a complete economic rupture. China needs Japanese machinery and components. Japan needs Chinese manufacturing and consumers. This interdependence creates a floor, a limit below which the relationship is unlikely to fall. Aoyama calls this the stability boundary. The relationship can shake violently, but it rarely breaks entirely.
Let's step back. Aoyama's article explains that China-Japan relations operate like a system of controlled volatility. Imagine a metal sheet under tension. It bends, it twists, it vibrates, but it does not snap. Why? Because both countries need that sheet. They need the relationship to function. But because the tension is always there, any political spark can trigger visible economic movement. This explains the current situation perfectly. Stable, no full-scale economic blockade, no severing of ties. Fragile, sudden tourism shock, stock market declines, nationalist messaging. To understand China-Japan tensions, you must understand this duality. And right now, we're witnessing another swing in that cycle.
So what should you, as a viewer, pay attention to in the coming days and weeks? First, tourism numbers. If travel advisories stay in place, the economic hit will deepen. Second, trade announcements. If China introduces new checks or inspections on Japanese imports, that signals a deeper escalation. Third, media tone inside China and Japan. A sudden softening of rhetoric often signals backstage diplomacy. Fourth, high-level meetings. If diplomats start meeting quietly, it means de-escalation is underway. And lastly, public sentiment. Nationalist anger can drive policy more than most people realize.
Aoyama's work reminds us that the China-Japan relationship is not just a diplomatic story. It's an economic lifeline for both nations, but one that is always under stress. Today's dispute is serious. It will have real economic consequences, but it will not lead to a full fracture. Instead, it is another chapter in a long pattern, a cycle of stability, then fragility, then stabilization again. Understanding this pattern helps us see the present more clearly, and perhaps anticipate the future.
Thanks for watching. These tensions may be complicated, but understanding the patterns makes the headlines easier to read. If you'd like more clear, research-based explanations like this, hit subscribe and join the community. See you in the next one.